guilty. So they issued a warrant for my arrest over 15 cents. So, dude, I'm locked up for like 2 weeks, not even knowing why I'm locked up because the judge is snowed in the middle of a blizzard and can't give them the information. So, dude, I ended up getting transferred from Kootenai County Jail to a grain silo. You know what a grain silo is?
Yeah.
Yeah, they held me in custody there in my underwear with the farmer with the shotgun. And then they transferred me to Moscow, Idaho.
What?
And then they transferred me to Lewiston, and then they put me back in the city that had originally occurred. And when I got there, the bailiff said, "What are you doing here?" He remembered me from the first time I was there 2 years ago. I said, "Bro, I don't even know why." He says, "This is messed up." He was like, he knows I'm a good person, Dude, like I said, come to find out it was over a 15-cent clerical mishap on their behalf, and they ended up releasing me in the middle of a blizzard. Once again, stuck in the middle of the state of Idaho, which is a very long state. There's, it's not an easy state to just get out of. There's no Greyhound stations, or, your family's not going to drive 8 hours through a blizzard to come get you typically, but, I'm from this region and I understand the mentality, and Spokane's no better. Washington's no better. It's very scary, right? For example,
what do you think that is, though?
I think it's for self-preservation. I don't want to get into politics or race or, but it's more or less about preservation. It's such a pristine and beautiful state, right? One of the most beautiful areas, that whole region. Eastern Washington, Idaho, Western Montana. You know that there's a creator when you get to this area. When you see clear rivers and mountains so tall where it hurts your neck to look up at, and air so crisp and pure, and everything's pristine, right? The people that originally settled there, and my family's some of these people. My family's been in this region for over 200 years, so they want to preserve it for themselves. So anything that is not akin to that, they reject, and they will go above and beyond and out of their way to make you feel as unwelcomed as possible until you damn near just end up moving out of the state. From Arkansas to Spokane, it's 2,500 miles, right? For me to drive. The most torturous and tumultuous part of that whole trip is the 60 miles I have to go through of Idaho. When you cross from Montana, go through northern Idaho to get to Spokane, at 60 miles or so. It's the worst part. It's like going through a gauntlet, dude. There's state patrols on both sides, and what they do is, if you got out-of-state plates, they're on you, and they're picking you out. They're pulling you over. They're searching your vehicle. They're violating all your constitutional rights, even when you let them know that you're aware of your constitutional rights.
Yeah, Indiana does a great job at that as well. You can see that because of Brian's pullovers.
So I'm very familiar with this region and what they do. That's why I live here in the South, dude, because I don't have bully policing. You don't see police with radar guns here. You don't see motorcycle cops and helicopters flying over your house. And I've been driving here as long as I've been driving up there. I've never been pulled over down here. Now, but up there, I got 6 pages of driving infractions. Suspended license, no insurance. Suspended license, no insurance. Never no speeding. Never no reckless driving. No DUIs. And that's the game that they play. That's how they have all that militarized equipment, because they're getting it off the backs of the people, off the tax-paying people. They get you in that system, and
he's describing what I defined earlier as a corruption that's ingrained in repetitive behaviors these people in these positions are making, that they themselves think it's just normal in the course of duty. Like you and I think, we don't think twice about putting on our underwear. We just do it, right?
Yeah.
But that system is what's being it's just run in a way that again, if I was going to be a policeman and I was going to do something corrupt, there'd have to be a reward for me, or I wouldn't do it.
Just looking at that Banfield video again, like I said, with the students, Dude, those cops just brought that department $1,500 in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? That's almost like that's almost like what Elon Musk makes per per 30 minutes, or Jeff Bezos. If I was a parent, and now I am a parent that has a student that, goes to school in that region, but if I was a parent and my kid called me that next morning like, Mom, I just got a $500 ticket, for minor in possession, and I didn't have anything. As a parent, I might not even believe my kid and think they're lying, but if I believe my kid's telling the truth, I'm going to be furious. You know what I mean? And that's something that they're regularly doing. If you multiply that by 10,000 students that probably have been hit up the same way per year.
It's worse than that. It's community wide across the country in most cases. It's, it just isn't right, man.
And then here's
hold on. Just to answer Firefly's comment, it's not because he was targeted because he has PA plates. It's because he had Washington plates in Indiana. I strongly and firmly believe that that's why he got pulled over so many times in Indiana.
Yeah, I think the reason why he got pulled over in Indiana so many times because he had Washington plates. When you go through that corridor, when you go through Ohio, Indiana, Nebraska, when you're going through that middle corridor there, they're targeting Washington plates because Washington was one of the first weed legal states. So a lot of weed started getting pushed out of Washington, going along the I-90, I-80, and not really I-70 corridor because that's Colorado's corridor. But they target Washington plates like a mug. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I've been arguing this from the beginning. But people go like, "Yeah, I know you're crazy." It's like it's on the fucking internet. What are you? The main reason they obviously are not going to tell that they are going to target you because of that. But
yeah, because if he would have had Idaho plates on his car, I guarantee they wouldn't have pulled him over in Indiana. They wouldn't have. But with him having Washington plates, the reason why they didn't, run him through the ringer is because they got Pop sitting in the seat. There apparently wasn't no smell of marijuana. So they're like, oops, these aren't the ones, let them go, But if it would have been, little Ray or Gabriel and
Rodriguez,
man, that car, all the panels would have been taken off that car. The dogs would have got brought out. They would have been put in the back seat, and that's just how they treat people in these areas. Like
that fucking reminds me of that part of The Hangover, Who let the dogs out? Ooh.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite series of movies, man.
Yeah,
I love the Hangover series. But yeah, man, it's just there's just something smells rotten in Denmark, man. It's just like
it's just not a fish.
Yeah, and it's just something ain't right about this. And I've been in the game long enough to where I know what is and what ain't. And
it's funny because it's such a nationwide issue with them keeping all of their crimes secret. I mean, it should be. A lot of people realize 360,000 children go missing every year unreported. Nobody talks about it, but I think a lot of people are aware of it. But it's all of these kinds of behaviors by the authorities or with the authorities' involvement that gets ignored, and they're atrocious. Pulling people over. I bet, not to be step out of line here, but I bet you if there was a black man in the car or Koberger was black, that there would have been more in that cam than what we saw. Okay, there was either if they were both black or they were both Hispanic and black. I suspect there'd be more interaction on that camera than what we got with the two white guys in the car. Right or wrong?
It would have been hammer
time.
time.
I'm just saying, I'm a white guy. I understand that because in the car community, you see them. They approach in the group. They go to approach the black guys when they come. They want to talk to us. Like, why you got to go to them? Why don't you come to me?
Now, you guys want to talk about something here? Check this out.
So,
about 50,000 new people moved to that region last year alone. Spokane is growing at a rate that's unheard of. When I go back home, I've only been gone a few years. When I go back home, it's changed so much, it's almost unrecognizable. They're building apartments everywhere. They're leveling perfectly fine neighborhoods and building 1,000-unit complexes, multi-1,000-unit complexes. So the same problem's going on in Moscow, Pullman. There's a less than 1% housing availability in that region. And what's happening is you got a lot of wealthy people from New York and California that are selling their properties out there. They're either involved in the weed business or they're just involved in the real estate business. And they're buying up properties like crazy. They're tearing them down. They're either converting them to grow houses or they're building apartments. And when you look at that area there, I see two things going on that King Road residence area. And understanding what I understand is that you have old apartments that need to be updated, and you have a few houses that could be used in a more efficient manner. Meaning, like the King Road residence, just that square footage space of that property there, if you were to level that house and build a 10-story apartment building, instead of you making $2,400 a month off of rent, you're now going to be making about 1.5 or something weird like that a month off of rent. You know, and when you're involved in capitalism and making money, which sounds better, you know, ethically $2,400 a month or financially making 1.5 million a month. So I said it from the beginning before they were even talking about leveling those houses. I said it on Midnight Show there too. I said, bro, they're going to level all of those houses there. They're going to do some silly memorial and they're going to build apartments, student housing. They're going to tear down the other ones too, because it's time, you know what I mean? And it's big business. Those colleges, they're like twin cities, you know. Pullman, you got Pullman, Moscow, twin city. You got Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, twin city. Then you got Lewiston, Clarkston, twin cities. And they all compete and they're all growing together, and they're blurred by an imaginary line. You know, it's big business in that area, bro. So that's why there's no transparency in this. That's why, because it's big business and it's above our comprehension, you know, for us to understand. And that's the reality of this whole case.